Good evening. This is the video newsletter for buysellshort.com for Tuesday, June 30th. Red day in the market today, quarter and kind of ended with a whimper. We did start off kind of decent, but we had the consumer confidence report come out and it posted a lower than expected number, and for some reason they used that as an excuse to dump the market. In case you didn't realize it, the consumer confidence number is one of the most useless economic indicators there are out there. If you actually go back and track the increases and decreases in the consumer confidence report, it essentially tracks the stock market. If the stock market is up during the measurement period, the confidence index is up, and if the market is down, the index is down. This index, the measurement period was when we were seeing this 800 point, or actually, 600 point sell off in the Dow. So, no surprise, the report comes out and says it was lower. We also had a lot of window dressing today, but the window dressing was to eliminate poor performance or performers from fund portfolio holdings. Essentially, what happens is, say a fund holds, let's say ELN for the quarter. They sell it all today. Even though the stock is down big during the quarter, they didn't own it according to the prospectus they send out with their marketing material. And likewise, stocks like Palm, PALM, fund may not have owned it for the entire quarter, but they buy it today, and when they send out their marketing pieces to the sheeple next month, they'll say, hey, see how smart we were? Our fund owns Palm as of the end of the quarter, and Palm was up huge last quarter, even though they bought it at the top. So that's essentially what we saw today. 15-minute chart right here. We had our golden cross yesterday. We did not get our typical sell-off that we see after a golden cross. Usually what happens, we get a golden cross, we get a little pop, and then a sell-off below the cross point. Instead, we saw a 100-point pop, and then, late yesterday and into today, we saw that pretty steep sell-off. So perhaps this was the sell-off that should have happened yesterday on the Golden Cross. Still looking for a move to 8,600 plus, but not as confident as we were yesterday. You'll see why on the daily chart. Right here, you see we have what's called a bearish engulfing candlestick. Essentially what that is, we had an up day yesterday, and then today the high was higher than yesterday's high, and the low was lower than yesterday's low, and we closed down. So it engulfed the previous day's positive action. Typically a bearish sign. But again, this is a holiday shortened week. Remember, the market is closed on Friday for the July 4th weekend. We've got a lot of, indicators, button heads here. We've got a possible golden cross on the daily chart, but we've got a holiday shortened week. We've got a long weekend. You've got the North Korea BS out there. So let's see what happens. We did hold the 8,400 level, so we just retraced back to where we were treading water before the move yesterday. So let's see what happens tomorrow if we get a little move up. SMH remains an area or a positive factor in the market. This is the more important indicator in my opinion. Again, we closed green on the day, albeit slightly, and we've seen some nice low volume buying on this one over the last few days, but right now we're hand sitting. We've got a few longs, and let's see how this holiday shortened week turns out. There was one interesting note today. Momentum was gone from this market today. We had a couple of sectors that had very explosive news, a couple of stocks that were up huge, and over the last few months we would have seen sympathy plays just exploding, and we saw absolutely none of that today. GERN had monster news. The stock was up huge. Usually you would see ASTM and STEM explode. Both of them were trading sharply higher in pre-market. STEM over 2, ASTM 49 cents, but there was really no follow-through on that, possibly because of the window dressing. We'll see what happens on these tomorrow. Chart still looks good, and we did send the alert out yesterday to pick up ASTM that something was brewing. Looks like the Journ news had leaked through to some hedge funds who also thought ASTM would pop, but the chart looks very, very good. Stochastics, ADX continues to build in strength, so hopefully this will show up in the stock price near term. The other momentum play, GNBT, had NVAX up huge today. It was up about 40% on the day, and all the other flu plays, just no traction at all. They tried to break out, but traders were just not interested. Possibly a little layover with funds trying to dump out before the end of the quarter. So we'll see again what happens on this tomorrow. Stops on this one, 54 cents. Still like it very, very much. So let's see what happens tomorrow on this one. It sees some follow through with NVAX. HSWY, new trading alert today. Stock sold off pretty sharply from its spike to 45 cents there a week or so ago. Very nice bottom, hit its trend line, which has continued to go higher. Breakout is a move above 25 cents, and as mentioned, target is 30 to 35 cents on this one, with stops at 19 cents. Nice dump on the quarter end on Friday, starting to recover. Stochastics in oversold territory, and ADX remains strong. So this one should see some nice follow through in the next couple of days, and it likes to run for a couple of days at a time. GNW, alternative energy slash ethanol play. Again, it is a cheap penny stock. Stops at 10 cents. Target is 17 to 20 cents on this one. Again, there's not much stuff moving right now, which is why we're dipping our toes into a couple of these ones that have very nice charts and could see some nice upside momentum. We've been seeing a lot of these cheap stocks just explode out of the gates. No reason at all. They just take off. So we're dipping our toes in a couple of them, hoping that we catch the next firecracker. URRE, uranium, the other sympathy play that we got on, the reason we got into this one on Friday, other than the window dressing, URZ has held up very well since its 50% spike last week. Actually closed at the high of the day, so should see URRE take off tomorrow. Be very surprised if we don't. Break out as a close above $1.32. And again, this one's got some serious catching up to do with its peer. DPTR, this is our oil play. Chart's getting very, very tight here. We're going to see a big move in this one in the next couple of days. I think if we don't see it this week, definitely next week. Last but not least, I'm going to have to mention that turd, VG Vonage. Two black candles on it today. Got dumped pretty hard on Friday on the Russell rebalance, but every time we've seen a couple of black candles in the past, we've seen spikes pretty soon thereafter. Target spike would be a move to 45 cents, but also note stochastics under 20. Each time we've seen stochastics come up through 20, we've seen a spike in the stock of 10 to 25%. So let's see if that holds through yet again on this one. That's it for the video tonight. I see you guys in the chat room tomorrow. Good night.